faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books worldwide. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today I'll be interpreting the book The Biography of Yongzheng Emperor for you. When it comes to the Yongzheng Emperor, in many people's minds, he's seen as a usurper, a tyrant who slaughtered loyal ministers and enforced secret police rule. What do you think of him? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. After studying extensive historical records, Professor Feng Erkong from Nankai University's History Department strongly refuted claims that Yongzheng usurped the throne. He affirmed Yongzheng's reforms to eliminate old abuses and regarded him as a key driver of the Kangxi Qianlong prosperity. In 1985, Feng Erkong published this book, The Biography of Yongzheng Emperor, to vindicate Emperor Yongzheng. He provides detailed explanations of related events, institutions, and figures to present a true portrait of Emperor Yongzheng. This book, with over 450,000 words, I'll split it into two parts to cover Yongzheng's life and the era he lived in. Part 1, I'll start with a brief introduction to the protagonist, then cover Yongzheng's ascension to the throne and how he eliminated political rivals. Part 2, I'll begin by discussing the crackdown on factions, then outline Yongzheng's new policies, and wrap up with a concise summary. All right, let's briefly introduce Yongzheng. His full name is Isen Gyoro Yinjin. Yin is the generational character for his brothers, and Zhen means to sincerely submit, being truthful to heaven and ancestors to gain blessings. He was born on October 30th in the 17th year of Kangxi's reign, that's 1678, and he was Kangxi's 11th son. Under Qing dynasty rules, princes who died young weren't counted in the order. At that time, only Yinti, Yinrang, and Yinzi were healthy and growing, so Yongzheng ranked fourth and was called the fourth prince. At age 20, he was granted the title of Beile. At 31, he became Prince Yung, and the era name Yongzheng comes from this. Yongzheng's biological mother, Uya, was from the Manchu Plain Yellow Banner, an ordinary background that didn't help his prospects much. However, Yongzheng was raised as a child by Emperor Kangxi's empress, Tang Jia, so he had close ties to the influential Tom Jia family. Tom Jia's third brother, Long Kodo, provided crucial support for his ascension to the throne. Kangxi placed great emphasis on his son's education. Princes had to start studying in the southern study at age 5. Yongzheng studied diligently, built a strong foundation in Manchu and Chinese, and wrote many poems. During the Qianlong era, they were compiled into the Yongdi collection and Si Yi Tang collection. Additionally, Kangxi required the princes to learn military and physical skills, like horseback riding, archery, and swimming. Yongzheng began accompanying Kangxi on tours at age 9, and as an adult, was sent on missions outside the capital, gaining many chances to interact with ordinary people. In the 35th year of Kangxi's reign, during the personal expedition against Galdan, the 19-year-old Yongzheng was appointed to command the Plain Red Banners camp, his only military experience. In the 42nd year of Kangxi's reign, Yongzheng accompanied Kangxi on a southern tour, inspecting the Yellow and Huai Rivers water conservancy projects and learning about river engineering and Jiangnan's social conditions, his only southern trip. Additionally, Yongzheng frequently accompanied Kangxi to Shengjing, modern Shenyang, to worship ancestral tombs, to Khufu for Confucian temple ceremonies, and to Mount Wutai for Buddhist pilgrimages. His excellent education, diligent study, and over 40 years of pre-reign experience endowed him with exceptional cultural literacy and political skills. Yongzheng himself admitted that he fell short of Kangxi in all matters except his understanding of society and public sentiment, which surpassed his father's. This was because Yongzheng didn't ascend the throne until middle age. His prior practical understanding of society people's livelihoods, and bureaucratic groups gave him confidence to pursue his political ambitions. In 1722, the 45-year-old Yongzheng wrote a couplet for his sleeping quarters in the Hall of Mental Cultivation upon his accession. To govern the world by one alone, not to serve one with the world. He aimed to govern diligently, appoint based on merit, eliminate factions, and achieve clean governance, the core belief guiding his rule. Yongzheng was quick-witted and clear-thinking, effortlessly quoting Confucian classics to instruct ministers. Amidst countless state affairs, he personally wrote vermilion endorsements on memorials, ranging from brief notes to thousand-word edicts, all composed fluently with minimal corrections. The overarching goal of Yongzheng's political agenda was to renew governance with his reign, eliminating past abuses, to refresh the political landscape and achieve national prosperity. This reveals Yongzheng's bold vision to eradicate accumulated flaws since the Tang, Song, Yuan, and Ming dynasties spanning over a millennium and establish enduring peace. Politically resolute and decisive, Yongzheng acted swiftly once he assessed a situation's merits and drawbacks. Hence, reforms during his reign were implemented consistently. However, Yongzheng had an impatient temperament. Kangxi once criticized his emotional volatility, advising him to restrain haste and practice patience. This disposition might relate to his heat-sensitive constitution, prone to physical overheating and irritability. Having suffered heat stroke, Yongzheng resided year-round in the Old Summer Palace. The Old Summer Palace was originally a private garden from the Ming dynasty. Later, Kangxi bestowed it upon Yongzheng with the name Yuan Ming, meaning perfect brightness, also given by Kangxi. Major renovations began in the third year of Yongzheng's reign. Like the Forbidden City, the Old Summer Palace was divided into two main sections, the outer court and the inner court. The outer court included the Hall of Uprightness and Brightness, the Hall of Diligent Governance, and the Hall of Close Sages, where Yongzheng conducted daily business, along with the Grand Council offices and duty rooms for the Grand Secretariat and 6 ministries. Yongzheng also granted residential lands near the Old Summer Palace to trusted ministers for easier access when working within the palace grounds. Eventually, like the Forbidden City, the Old Summer Palace became Yongzheng's primary workplace and the central government's operational hub. As many know, Kangxi loved traveling, making 6 southern tours during his lifetime, annual summer retreats to Chang'e, and even winter hunts beyond the Great Wall passes. After ascending the throne, Yongzheng ordered all exotic animals like hawks and hounds kept in the palace released, eliminating substantial expenses. Except for burying his parents, Yongzheng rarely left Beijing. The reasons behind this, beyond early concerns about political rivals, it stemmed from his overwhelming state duties, leaving no time for travel. He constantly taught subjects to value frugality, using small paper strips for vermilion endorsements, sometimes cramming text densely onto single sheets. Of course, Yongzheng had personal interests. He favored Western instruments, like thermometers, telescopes, and especially eyeglasses, due to his nearsightedness, ordering the Imperial Household Department to replicate them. Yongzheng also collected Western wigs. Today, the Palace Museum still preserves portraits of Yongzheng wearing wigs. Compared to Kangxi's dozens of consorts and children, Yongzheng had only 8 consorts throughout his life, with just 4 sons and 1 daughter reaching adulthood. His eldest son, Hongxi, behaved recklessly and unlawfully, stripped of imperial status in Yongzheng's 5th year, dying shortly after. This reflects Yongzheng's resolute and decisive character. Hongli, later the Qianlong Emperor, was secretly designated heir early on. In Yongzheng's 11th year, he was enfeoffed as Prince Bao and participated in state affairs. The same year, Hongzhou was enfeoffed as Prince He. His youngest son, Hongyan, born at the Old Summer Palace, was later adopted by the 17th Prince Yinli. Like Kangxi, Yongzheng prioritized his children's education. Since Yongzheng secretly designated his heir, unlike Kangxi's public crown prince appointment, his sons avoided succession struggles. Secret designation meant the emperor wrote the successor's name, sealed it in a box placed behind the uprightness and brightness plaque in the Palace of Heavenly Purity. After the emperor's death, ministers retrieved the box and followed the edict to confirm succession. Beyond the secret edict in the Palace of Heavenly Purity, Yongzheng kept an identical succession decree at the old summer palace's backup. During his severe illness, Yongzheng secretly informed his trusted ministers Ortai and Zhang Tinyu about the succession edicts. Both copies held equal validity. This demonstrates Yongzheng's meticulous and secretive approach to critical matters. The heir designation system successfully prevented power struggles among princes and between crown princes and emperors, thus being adopted by subsequent Qing rulers. In August of Yongzheng's first year, the emperor secretly designated his fourth son Hongli as successor. To maintain secrecy, he treated all sons equally. Especially Hongli and Hongzhou received identical privileges, including performing imperial sacrifices to heaven and ancestors. On the same day, they handled princely enfeoffments and ancestral worship duties. After Yongzheng's death, Zhang Tingyu and others found the edict, publicly announced it before senior ministers, and requested Hongli to accept the throne, later known as Emperor Qianlong. Yongzheng established secret succession precisely to avoid power struggles like those during Kangxi's reign. In his twilight years, Kangxi's physical decline and exhausting heir selection struggles led to governance neglect under his philosophy of quiet tolerance and non-interference. This became Kangxi's fundamental governing principle in later years. However, non-interference was merely Kangxi's subjective wish. The succession crisis, coupled with escalating factional conflicts, caused governance deterioration and rising social tensions during Kangxi's later reign. Yongzheng entered the political stage during Kangxing's 47th year, when Crown Prince Yinreng, Yongzheng's second brother, was first deposed. Though exceptionally capable, Yinreng was arrogant, extravagant, and frequently persecuted officials who didn't submit to him. Such violent tyranny contradicted Kangxi's policy of leniency. Kangxi even stated Yinreng would harm the people if enthroned. Moreover, being named crown prince at age 2 and living long as second only to the emperor bred deep resentment in Yinreng. At 42, Yinreng lamented, "Has there ever been a 40-year crown prince in history?" Kangxi, the longest reigning feudal emperor at 61 years, naturally clashed severely with Yinreng's impatience. Amid these tensions, Kangxi's 47th year saw Yinreng's first deposition, causing hidden anti-crown prince factions to surface.
First, the eldest prince Yinti, fearing Yinreng's return, volunteered to execute him, enraging Kangxi. When the third prince Yinji exposed Yinti's curse rituals against Yinreng, Kangxi imprisoned Yinti.
Next, the 8th Prince Yinzi's faction emerged, scheming for the throne with secret endorsements from officials led by Grand Secretary Maki. Prince Yinzi, the 8th son, Kangxi was astounded by officials forming factions around Yinzi. He argued that Yinzi's mother, consort Liang, came from humble origins, and Yinzi lacked administrative experience, making him unfit as crown prince. Meanwhile, after Yinti's curse against Yinreng was exposed, Kangxi released Yinreng and reinstated him as crown prince the following year to balance power. Kangxi despised Yinreng's failures and was ashamed and furious over the succession chaos, falling gravely ill. Only Yongzheng and Yinxi urged medical treatment, earning Kangxi's trust. Yinreng was deposed and imprisoned. While most princes attacked the fallen crown prince, Yongzheng defended Yinreng's rights, petitioned Kangxi on his behalf, rending their relationship while maintaining good ties with ambitious Yinzi to allay suspicions. Kangxi reinstated Yinreng merely to suppress others' ambitions for the crown. The princes, arrogant in their status, increasingly disrespected the crown prince. Their conflicts intensified beyond past levels, with the crown prince growing more resentful and reckless toward his brothers. This not only undermined imperial authority, but also disrupted governance. By Kangshi's 51st year, he could tolerate no more, resolutely deposed the crown prince again, and vowed never to appoint another heir. Yinren was deposed once more. With the succession vacant, factions stirred, especially Yinxi's group, accelerating activities. They spread rumors about Yinxi's imperial bearing and falsely claimed Kangxi would name him successor. Simultaneously, Yinxi's faction expanded influence, even courting Sichuan governor Nian Gengyao. Nian Gengyao was Yongzheng's confidant. Yinxi, attempting to poach him, revealed the operation's scale. Hangxi compared Yinxi to Yinreng. The second prince defied me and lost support, but Yinxi actively builds factions. He's 100 times more dangerous. Kangxi accurately feared Yinxi's coup attempts more than Yinreng's failures. He repeatedly stated, "If I fall ill, ministers will surely enthrone Yinxi, leaving me only suicide." Yinxi's formidable faction terrified even Kangxi, who began concentrating attacks to dismantle it. Yinxi's title was revoked, eliminating his faction's cronies. As Yinxi faced setbacks, the 14th Prince Yinti in the faction became active, beginning to aggressively pursue the succession. His name sounds the same as the eldest Prince Yinti, but the characters are different. However, the eldest Prince, Yinti, vanished from the political scene after Kangxi imprisoned him. So when I mention Yinti later, it refers to the 14th Prince. Yinti and Yongzheng were half-brothers. Yinti was exceptionally smart and talented, favored by Kangxi. You could say they were well-matched rivals. In March of Kangxi's 57th year, Yinti was appointed general who pacifies the distant west, preparing to campaign westward to resolve the Tibet issue. In the army, Yinti was called the Great General Prince. To many, the Great General Prince was a step toward becoming crown prince. Thus, at that time, the 14th Prince Yinti had high popularity. Meanwhile, Yongzheng acted strategically. First, he always aimed to align with Kangxi's will, winning his father's affection and trust. Second, to expand his influence, Yongzheng recruited officials tirelessly, forming a political group around him, including Sichuan Shanxi Governor Nian Gengyao, Sichuan Provincial Administration Commissioner Dai Duo, commander of the Gendarmerie Longkodo, and the 13th Prince. Yinsheng's group wasn't large, but they were all key figures, with Longkodo overseeing Beijing's defense. Amid the tense succession struggle, Yongzheng also associated with monks and Taoists, presenting himself as the world's foremost sage to deceive others and conceal his bid for the throne, gaining support from some ministers. In Kangxi's later years, Yongzheng's status grew increasingly important, and the task Kangxi assigned him became progressively higher level. In the Qing dynasty, there were 3 major sacrifices at the Temple of Heaven: the winter solstice sacrifice to heaven, the spring prayer for grain, and the summer prayer for rain. End quote. The sacrifices were usually presided over by the emperor himself or a trusted prince appointed by him. In his later years, Kangxi was often too ill to attend, so he always sent Yongzheng to preside over the grand sacrifices. This showed Yongzheng's rising status in Kangxi's eyes and his increasing social prestige. Additionally, Kangxi's Changzheng Garden was adjacent to Yongzheng's old summer palace, and Kangxi often visited, showing their close father-son relationship. In Kangxi's 61st year, Kangxi met Yongzheng's son Hongli at the old summer palace, adored him, and ordered him raised in the palace. Exhausted from twice deposing the crown prince and advanced in age, Kangxi fell ill on November 7th of that year. After returning to Changchun Garden, he ordered Yongzheng to perform the winter solstice sacrifice to heaven in the southern bubbers on his behalf. On the 13th day, his illness worsened, and he was summoned immediately. Kangxi died that night at Changchun Garden at the age of 69. On the 20th day, Yongzheng ascended the throne. Shortly after, rumors spread widely that he forged the edict to usurp the throne, changing pass to the 14th son to pass to the 4th son. In other words, the throne was originally meant for the 14th son, Yinti. But according to Qing dynasty customs, when referring to princes, Huan imperial must be prefixed. Therefore, if 10 was changed to Yu, the edict would become pass to Hongyu the 4th son, which makes no sense. So Yongzheng couldn't have made such a forgery. The claim of edict tampering is illogical. Yongzheng knew well that such rumors threatened both his reputation and the throne's security. He concluded these rumors were spread by political enemies, starting with the Yinsi faction. However, Yinsi had high prestige, and his faction, entrenched for over 20 years, was vast and hard to dismantle. Therefore, Yongzheng decided to adopt a divide-and-conquer strategy against this faction. By then, the Yinsi faction had expanded, with core members, the 8th son Yinsi, 9th son Yintang, 10th son Yin'e, and 14th son Yunti. Yongzheng treated Yinti favorably, promoting him to Grand Minister of State Affairs and enfalfing him as Prince Sun. Yinsi was the influential faction leader. Stabilizing him would help control the group. This would prevent them from rebelling and disrupting the government. Among these three, the most powerful was the 14th son. After Kangxi's death, Yinti, as the general who pacifies the distant west, commanded troops in Xinning, and his popularity far exceeded others in Kangxi's later years. Yinti's influence was greater than Yinsi's, with stronger appeal, so he had to be dealt with. After Yinti was recalled to Beijing, Yongzheng revoked his princely title for disrespect at Kangxi's tomb and ordered Yinti to guard the Jingling tomb where Kangxi was buried, effectively imprisoning him. The 10th son, Rin, was not a core figure. Harsh punishment wouldn't cause trouble. Instead, it could serve as a warning to others. Thus, Yin'e was stripped of his princely rank, recalled, imprisoned for life, and his property confiscated, yielding over 600,000 taels of gold and silver. As for Yintang and Yin'e, Yongzheng didn't kill them. Both lived into the Qianlong era. After these actions, the Yinsi faction gradually collapsed. During this period, Longkodo and Nian Gengyao, having aided his enthronement, enjoyed Yongzheng's trust. But they gradually became unrestrained, forming factions and disrupting governance. Nian Gengyao was appointed commander of Northwest military forces, suppressed the rebellion by Mongolian leader Lobzang Dunjin, and was granted the title of first-class duke. Leveraging his power and status, he cultivated a faction mainly composed of Sichuan Shanxi officials, undermining political integrity. Simultaneously, Nian was extremely greedy, embezzling millions in funds and bribes, violating Yongzheng's early anti-corruption policies. Yongzheng stripped Nian of military authority and ordered his arrest. Deliberative council ministers listed 92 major crimes against Mian, demanding execution. Yongzheng noted over 30 crimes warranted death, but showed mercy. He ordered Nian to commit suicide, confiscated his property, executed family members, dismissed officials, and exiled them permanently, barring descendants from office. Meanwhile, Longkodo, as Minister of Personnel, usurped Yongzheng's authority over appointments. Officials he selected were called Tong's choices. Yongzheng seized evidence of Longkodo secretly hoisting imperial genealogies and imprisoned him for life. After dealing with Mian and Longkodo, Yongzheng turned back to Yinsi. On the 5th day of the first lunar month in Yongzheng's 4th year, he issued an edict detailing Yinsi's crimes, betraying ancestors and Kangxi, and creating obstacles for the new emperor. The 9th Prince Yintang was Yinsi's loyal follower. Yongzheng considered Yintang's mother, Consort Yi's high status and influence, necessitating their separation to prevent alliance. Thus, Yongzheng exiled him to the Xingning frontier. When Yinsi's plot surfaced, Yongzheng stripped Yintang of imperial status, expelled him from the clan, and renamed him. Akina and Seshi meant pig and dog in Manchu, utterly contemptible. Yintang was transported from Ximing to Baoding under Governor Li Fu.
Confined in a tiny cell near the yamen, high walls, summer heat, Yintang frequently fainted in chains.
He died ill in August. Yanxi died imprisoned in September. With their deaths, this political faction, built over 20 years, finally collapsed. Though Yanxi's faction was eliminated, rumors persisted in society. Whispers of Yongzheng killing his father, coercing his mother, and murdering brothers spread wildly, untraceable. In Yongzheng's 6th year, Hunan scholar Zheng Jing petitioned Governor Yue Zongqi to rebel against the Qing. Believing he'd found the rumor's source, Yongzheng launched intense interrogations and widespread purges, triggering the infamous Lu Yang literary inquisition. After Yongzheng dispatched officials to interrogate Zheng Jing and his accomplices, he discovered their ideology was influenced by Zhejiang scholar Lu Yang. Lu Yang's political views had three main aspects. First, he viewed Yongzheng as a tyrannical ruler lacking virtue, accusing him of 10 major crimes: plotting against his father, coercing his mother, murdering brothers, slaughtering siblings, greed, bloodthirstiness, drunkenness, debauchery, suspecting loyalists, and favoring sycophants. Second, he asserted that the distinction between Han Chinese and barbarians outweighed feudal loyalty, advocating the expulsion and killing of Manchu rulers nationwide.
Finally, he sought to rescue people from poverty.
The 10 charges against Yongzheng, proclaimed by Zheng Jing, weren't original, but reflected widely circulated public opinions. Rumors spread by eunuchs and servants of Yunxi and Yintang, like Yongzheng forging edicts, poisoning Kangxi, and driving the Empress Dowager to death, had permeated society. Yongzheng considered Zheng Jing's treason case critically important. This made him realize Han intellectuals still harbored hostility toward Qing rule. He understood that dispelling anti-Manchu sentiment required direct intellectual confrontation. The Hua-Yi distinction upheld by Lu Yang and Zhang Jing fundamentally opposed minority rule over China. Thus, instead of executing Zheng Jing, Yongzheng personally debated him in prison. During the debate, he showed documents and vermilion endorsements demonstrating his diligence and competence, while arguing that a ruler's worth shouldn't be judged by ethnicity. Monarchs become rulers through popular selection of virtuous individuals, not based on birthplace. He cited examples. Emperor Shun was from the eastern Yi tribes, King Wen of Zhou from the western Yi, neither diminished in sagehood by their origins. Thus, Manchus, like Shun and King Wen, could legitimately rule. Yongzheng's arguments affirmed Qing legitimacy. After thorough investigation and debate, Yongzheng concluded the case. In September of Yongzheng's 7th year, he ordered all case-related edicts compiled with Zheng Jing's confessions and penitent writings into Awakening to Great Righteousness, distributed nationwide to all schools and officials for public lectures. Zheng Jing traveled nationwide confessing his errors, promoting Yongzheng's virtues and the court's wisdom while repenting his heretical path. Zheng Jing's nation.
All right, the Zhang Jing case has reached a temporary conclusion. Yongzheng announced he'd identified the source of defamatory rumors against him, spread by imperial examination scholars.
So, on one hand, he intensified crackdowns against Yanxi's faction, while simultaneously targeting scholars aligned with Yanxi and their resulting cliques. Because these were the very people propagating the rumors. Well, that concludes our introduction to the first part of the Yongzheng biography. Next episode, I'll continue with how Yongzheng dismantled factions and implemented new policies after consolidating power. See you then!